purple mantequilla. I still have a cough. It's annoying me more than it's annoying you, I assure you. We are continuing with Still Joking. I am continuing to enjoy it, and I'm continuing to resist the prompting of the game to go after these supposedly alluring, interesting male characters, and I am just wanting to be around Tony. Tony is best. It's just the fact. It's just the fact of the game. They wrote a really interesting character. He doesn't walk around with his shirt off all the time. He has cracks all over his body. And he has a big smile. And he's interesting to talk to. Why wouldn't I want to be around Tony all the time? So, we are back in to Still Joking, and yay. Let's do that. Still Joking. Still Tony. It's all we need. Okay. Right. The radar has detected some new land. Look at Tony sleeping. At long last. It hasn't been fun enough lately. In a tired voice. But I'm not supposed to say that out loud, am I? And you are still joking. They said the title. Put your shoes on. We need to set up. I bit my tongue as I said set. We need to set up a camp. Good day. Hey there, Fab. Fab, hello. Is there something wrong? Johnny has given orders to help you set up a camp, and it's my shift right now, and my pleasure to oblige. He says that last night's incident is still too raw and that you shouldn't be left on your own. Okay, but I'm sure we would have managed on our own. I cannot go against my leader's instructions. Will you be so kind as to show me where you keep everything? Dora, may I? Yes, Maximilian, Iris, you two tag along. Fab, will this be enough, or should I also wake up Tony? More than enough, thank you. If that's more than, can I maybe read for another half an hour? Just a thought. Iris, I know you don't like setting up camp, but this isn't right. We'll be more than fine with just 3 of us, Dora, with your kind consent, of course. All right. Whoa, I don't have to go set up camp. But then, Iris, you'll be helping with the dishes later. Meh, and I thought I was in heaven a mere 1 second ago. Iris, let us waste no time, champions. Dora, I will inform you as soon as everything is ready. She loves volunteering me for things and then getting sour-faced when I'm like, I'll volunteer myself if I would choose to volunteer, thank you. Fabrizio has gone up to the roof to unfold the tent. This means they're about to be done. Make yourself useful at once, please. Go up too and find out if Fab will have breakfast with us. And if not, maybe coffee at least. Isn't he going to come down here anyway when he's done with the tent? Iris, I need a pretty lace apron, a menu and a tray. Or not at all, actually. That was a very random thought. My mind must be playing up after last night, I guess. Is that just the way the cracks are around the crook of Tony's elbow? Or is the crook of Tony's elbow got it looks like there's a chunk missing from his arm. I think it's just the crook of his elbow. And the way that the ladder and the wood in the background is maybe not helping. You'd look good in this get-up, though. We both would. Iris? Okay, I'm off. It's another random guy that they're trying to make me swoon over and distract me from Tony, who I just spent a lot of time looking at the crook of his elbow. May I inquire if you're all right? Doesn't his attention make you uncomfortable? It's about the second time that I'm even seeing the dude. He can give me all the attention he wants for all I care. Yes, Dora asked me to find out if you'd have breakfast with us, or at least some coffee. No breakfast for me, but coffee would be really great. Thank you so much. By the way, I should ask him about the police station, right over that coffee, for example. I'll let her know. Hold on a minute, please, if you don't mind. Iris, may I please ask you a question? As long as it's not too long or complicated, otherwise Dora will start missing me. Of course, I won't hold you up. Tell me, please, is there anything I should not bring up with Third and Tony around? I mean, any subjects that frustrate them in particular? So that you know how to push their buttons when you need to? Of course not. Why would I need to do that? Can't think off the top of my head, but I believe you can surprise me. Why are you even interested in anyone's weak spots? To make sure we avoid them efficiently. We presume we'll be lucky enough with Tony and Third joining the practitioners. They should feel psychologically comfortable with us. I don't quite understand what this has to do with Tony. He doesn't seem too interested in your faction. He isn't yet, I have to admit. I'm sure you know that Tony's abilities are almost endless. I'm not going to lie here. We're hoping he'll reconsider once his adjustment is complete. What if he doesn't? He certainly may not reconsider, but he first needs to fully adjust to everything here. And comfort is essential for adjustment, including when communicating with practitioners. Have I upset you? I see. Just a second. I need to think. Sure. I'm not liking this for some reason. Hey there, inner voice, what about you? I think he appears to be a reasonable man. He sort of does, but still. Is he too polite? Does he care too much about others? Is he failing to propose indecent things to you or yell at you for no reason? Well, yeah. Dora looks after Tony and does a lot to help him get better. Maybe this is Fabrizio's own way of trying to take care of others. Fine, so why doesn't he just ask Dora then? Maybe he did, or maybe he's still going to. If I were him, I'd try and get as many options as possible. Guess that's reasonable. Damn it, I should probably have said something to him by now, and still something seems off to me. And not anything in particular. This sounds questionable. Maybe you're right, I'm just expecting there to be a catch all the time, or not. Can I just say that I don't want to answer, but then we'll never know which of the two of us was right. I mean, is Fabrizio the epitome of evil while you're just too trusting? Or is it the other way around? Fabrizio is fine while you're suspecting things for no reason. Do you want to be proved right? I just want to know the truth. Anyway, it's stage time. Be honest. Don't mention the past or how it affects the present when you're around Third. And regarding Tony, it's pretty much the same. His prototype was a drug addict, so you should avoid that subject. Iris, thank you so very much for the information. It really is valuable to the practitioners and we should treat it with diligence. If I can somehow return the favour, please don't hesitate to let me know. When I said be honest, I thought she was going to say, I'm suspicious of you. I didn't think she was going to say, here's everything you just asked for. Those options did not lay out what I thought I was saying. I have been tricked. Whenever you need help, just ask me, as long as it's not illegal, of course. Your prototype was a policewoman, am I right? Could you please tell me anything about the police station on Bedford Street? Iris, shall we maybe drop the formal tone? And sure, I'll tell you what you want to know. Anything in particular? I'd like to know if there was a mirror in the room where evidence is kept, and if there's a way of getting hold of interrogation records, and the opening hours, unless the station runs around the clock. Well, here you go. On our side, police stations normally run on workday evenings and weekend mornings. The guys spend a lot of time in the field. If you come in at the wrong time, you may not even find anyone there. Regarding the evidence, there are no mirrors there, but there is some sort of storage where officers' reflections keep copies of any evidence they manage to get their hands on. There are usually copies of interrogation records enclosed with the evidence too, so if you get lucky with one, you'll get lucky with the other too. So do I just go there and say, give me all the evidence for my case and get everything handed over? Not exactly. Not everyone knows which evidence is kept where. Moreover, someone might have it with them if the case is still open, or they might only be retrieving that evidence. And there's so many people and many mirrors in the reflected police station, so it's dangerous to go down there. But then you probably won't even have to, and it's not likely they'll let you go downstairs alone anyway. Thanks, Fabrizio. I should get going. Iris, how much longer? Dora, totally my bad. I've held her back. Excuse me. Please kindly let me help you with breakfast. No, it's good for us to do things ourselves sometimes, right, Iris? Well, I'm not sure. By the way, Fabrizio will have coffee with us. Just call me Fab. It's shorter that way. All right, in short, Fab will have the coffee. Iris! Fine, I'll go wash my hands and help you with breakfast. So long, Fab. We might see each other again sometime, should the routine not swallow me whole for good. All done. You've got some free time now. As I've said before, you should make good use of it. Scientists or practitioners will need your help, so try and make an impression. Lights out at 9. Dora, you know where to find me if you need me. Iris, Maximilian? I don't want to go anywhere. Well, fine. You just stay here then. Okay? Ouch. Did he just crack? Ah, what's the effing thing? Wow, he got a massive crack. Dora says that many cracks at the very beginning. Dora says that many crack in the very beginning. It should eventually go. This probably never happened to you earlier because you're in better physical form than we are. You've remembered. Yeah, it was stupid of me to say that. Iris, that's enough. Maximilian, we should go and get Taker to have a look at you. Hey, no one thought of getting Taker to have a look at me. It seems like it has to do with the circumstances in which he, or is it about the size of the crack? Or about the physical form? Those four arms out there to make a difference. Tony, wait for me, alright? Alright, I'll wait for you like Rika did. Iris, will you keep an eye on him? Iris, will you keep an eye on me? Of course, I'll be spoiling you a little. Yay! What for? Fine, I won't. But didn't you just want to? Alright, we're off. No one else has ever wanted to spoil me, and Dora says she's here to help me be wholesome, but she hasn't said anything to you. Oh, you're making a joke. But in this case, you're not going to tell me what spoiled people do, and that would be interesting. Why wouldn't I tell you? I can teach you to bluff when playing cards, compliment girls in an ambiguous manner, and stay up after lights out. So many things. Thank you, Iris. You're fuzzy. And what are those ambiguous compliments? I'll tell you later, although you know the basics already. Iris, I like that you can spoil me. Spoil me lots. Yep. This is my chance to ask the Chosen One how he's going to save the world, or maybe something more down to earth. Who is Rika? Who is Rika? You have mentioned her a lot. Rika is my friend. She used to come in through the window. She has a spotted tail and she is warm. A tail? Aha. Hold on, does Rika have whiskers? Yes, long ones. The moment of truth. A spotted tail, a set of whiskers, and a penchant for entering through the window. Might be a raccoon, but I'll go simple first. Is Rika a cat? Probably. Does a cat hum when pleased? You'd normally say purr, but yes. Then she's a cat. No. So the mystery of the century has been solved. Our Chosen One is Catman. No. You're exaggerating. Although you're right. Oh. Oh, I got the find out who Rika is achievement. Oh. I found out who Rika is. Inspired Tony to do something extraordinary. I missed inspiring Tony. I missed inspiring Tony. How have I missed it? How did I miss inspiring Tony? How are you going to save the world? I've got a serious question for you, Tony. How are you going to save the world? It's a pretend serious question. Oh, and how are you, Iris, going to save the world? Apparently now I'm a teammate. Whoa. Like in Scandinavian myths, we'll have to kill a monstrous wolf and somehow survive the epic final battle. Do we need to prepare? Yes, read lots of sagas, say a ton of prayers, and sacrifice a few folks. Don't worry, sacrifices are fun. Can we maybe not sacrifice anyone? We could, but it'll make things tough for us. Yes! True heroes always walk the toughest path. Do you think Max is going to be okay? I want him to be okay. Because it's nice when everything is okay. Yes, you get it. Why am I fuzzy? Tony, you keep calling me fuzzy, but I don't quite understand what you mean by that. I mean good things. Care to be more specific? Fuzzy. It's nice to touch. Do you want to touch me? And Dora and Chen too. You're all nice. Johnny would have loved to comment on that. Aren't you going to try and explain to him that sounds a little ambiguous? Like how? Tony, I'm sorry, but you seem to want something naughty from me. And Tony is like, oh, what does naughty mean? Oops. Tony, Iris, is everything fine? Yes. Good. So Maximilian is more or less fine. His crack isn't spreading. People don't usually crack this much at once, except for when in the void or for extreme situations. Of course. Anyway, Teiko is going to figure out what happened. So is it because Maximilian is in such exceptional physical form? It's not funny, Iris. Maybe I'm also trying to figure things out. What did Teiko say? If it's not about the form, does it have to do with personal qualities then? Individual qualities do matter, but no one knows where the cracks come from, remember? Teiko is simply dealing with the aftermath like he always does. Like he always does? He has been studying cracks for long, and admittedly with next to no success. I mean, he has come up with effective treatment methods, but that's about it. We regularly visit Key-Cot, this town, or more like a village, where none of the locals ever crack. I've heard about it. In that case, you have certainly heard there were no successful experiments there. All we can do is admit that Maximilian has a crack now and it has to be treated, which is what Teiko's trying to do now. I sound like I'm judging Teiko, don't I? I didn't mean it like that. He is one of the best doctors in the community, even in his current state. I just don't share his fascination with cracks. What do you mean, his current state? I shouldn't have said anything. Teiko's state is his private business. All right, where are we? Tony, are you ready to go see Chen? Yes. Hey, you two. What you doing? Pootle and Topanga had their nails clipped today. Topanga, for the nail clipping, she was fine. For being picked up and carried over to the bathroom, she was a big baby. She screamed and cried. She was very dramatic. No, don't pick me up. Help me. And then she had her nails clipped and she was perfectly calm and quiet. She's a drama queen. Excellent, Iris. So what are you going to do after all? I'm planning on not being sad and not cracking. Still joking. Fine. They dropped the title again. Either way, if you decide to visit the practitioners, try being more diplomatic. Everyone is tense after last night and we're also very far from the new land. So, I get it. Everyone is walking around long-faced, so your jokes are not welcome, Iris. Exactly. Chloe has finally made Johnny do some work and Roy is indeed walking around with a face suggesting someone died. You're making it even harder to fight the temptation. Well, try your best then. Let's go, Tony. We're finally alone and I wanted to say something. That's an intriguing intro. Are you going to confess your undying love to me? No, I just wanted to apologise. Back there with the bus, I wasn't thinking and just went with my gut. I tried to help and do the right thing, and that's why I got offended when you didn't trust me, which you totally had a right to do. I'm sorry. You should be the one to decide what to do, not your inner voice. I'll try not to act on impulse anymore. Again, I'm sorry. Fine, we're good. Want to grab a beer? Ah, right, you're in my head. Turns out, every time you drink beer, we drink beer. I've always known I needed to double the amount. Actually, it better not be beer. That's not my drink of choice. Yes, yours is whiskey. What was it we were going to do now? Things. Fab said it was better to visit Bedford Street Station in the evening. That is if I intend to continue my investigation. I should do something else now. Or just wait it out. I can also help the scientists or the practitioners, but in that case, I won't have enough energy left to open the door to the police station myself. As far as I understand, there's no point asking Roy or Johnny for help with the door today. They've got their hands full. However, I've got no idea who else to turn to. I think Fabrizio won't deny you the favour. He's working his shift now, but he was sent to help here, and he's also a former cop, which means he helps everyone who's searching for justice. Oh no, I don't trust him. All you need is a door. First you compromise with the villains, then you turn into an unwilling accomplice. He will blatantly ask for something in return. Something terrible. You don't like him, sure, but why the villain right away? That's exactly why. But fine, I'll think about it. I might, as long as there are no other options left, or if I decide to defect to the dark side. They have cookies, don't they? So does Dora. Listen, does everyone who has cookies stand for the dark side? Sometimes the light side snatches cookies away from the dark side, I guess. Yeah, Dora could definitely do that. Dora also mentioned that Roy was very down. I should try and find out what's wrong with him. By the way, you wanted to see a doctor, remember? I know, thanks for reminding me. Tycho is probably busy with Maximilian now, but I'm sure he'll find a couple of minutes for me in the evening. I'll start with Roy, though. Roy. Hey, Iris. Are you guys having a competition for the sternest facial expression that you're very keen on winning? Want to join? I'm not in competitive mood right now, but I wouldn't leave you on your own. You can be the participant with incredibly sullen fan group. I think it will really impress the jury if I wail with sorrow a couple of times. Let alone how impressed I will be. And the reason is in fact rather competition worthy. I've been to the lab. Experiments indicate that the link between me and the prototype is unbreakable. Completely, that is. And then there's something else. Not just unbreakable, but also sacred, protected by law. No, that something else is a different matter. We need to talk, and it's important, but I really am very busy now. Where are you going to be later tonight? And sorry, I never asked how you're doing. You okay? No way, Roy. What were you busy with your own stuff? How could you never ask? Got you. Won't say I'm sorry anymore. But seriously, are you alright? I guess I'll live. Cannot be too certain, but that's my plan for the next few hours. And regarding later on tonight, the camp will provide shelter for my fleeting flesh. Or maybe it'll be camp first, then police station, then back to the camp. How about we go to the police station tomorrow? I'd like to go with you, unless you mind, but right now you're all, work. Damn, looks like our schedules just don't match. My free time is also quite scarce. Thanks for the offer, but my free time is also quite scarce. Sure, I understand. I've got to run, but one more thing. Tell me, please, was there anything that Serena could do that you couldn't? Lots of things. She's good at archery, she can juggle, dance flamenco, step and acrobatic rock and roll, and also, so dancing then. What's your shoe size? Roy, that's the second question already. Please. My size is 5. That's the European 38. What's all this, Roy? I'll find you. +1 mysterious Roy. What do you reckon he wants from you? Something to do with feet. Kinky or... Who are you and what are you doing in my head? Now I can't stop trying to figure out if it's kinky or not. And I'd like to know just how kinky. Shush. We'll find out later, I suppose. The question is, where do we go next? So Tony's neither option. Tony is neither option. But now that we know that Maximilian is asexual, I kind of like Maximilian a bit more. In the third column, you're helplessly ham-handed, aren't you? Any chick from the admin department would have handled this better. Well, maybe you could just sit in your lab with all the chicks while they might enjoy you calling them that and being an arse all the time. I've had enough. You need calculations, you do them. And stay away from me. It's the first time that I'm seeing such a high verbal activity given the absolute lack of any signs of intelligence. And by the way, the community needs those calculations, not me. Another mistake, and it's logical this time. Doubt you know the term though. Logical. Can you even repeat that? You scum, a mean old man who only knows how to say mean things to everyone. Do you really think anyone here gives a damn about you and your stupid research? Not even. I'm having a massive deja vu. Someone's always yelling wherever I go. They've been at it for at least half an hour. Suzu's in the lab and I'd intervene myself, but you said that in cases like this. Yes, you're right. Thank you, Marco. Chen was clearly put off her work with Tony. I wonder what she'll do next. She'll hardly bite anyone's head off for the sake of world peace and order, but it might be curious to watch nevertheless. Hey, Rocky. Chen, she made an absolute joke of an error in her calculations. Here, have a look. Is it based on the data you brought in yesterday? Exactly. Could have gone straight to testing, but our loon here. I'm not a loon. Shh, I know. That's not the only thing, Candy, let him explain, please. Our loon here has decided for some reason that it was fine to perform the calculations with a random number generator. 2 additional angles instead of 3, 4 adjustments instead of 5, a brand new formula out of the damn blue, and some wishful factorial in the third column. You took her on board as an act of mercy, didn't you? Almost crying. How can someone be so... Shh, Otto, you're now to answer my questions only. No comments about Candy, just answer my questions. I am. Excellent. Please explain this formula to me in detail. What do you mean explain? Isn't it more than obvious? These two or Max and third? Max and third or these two? Max is scarier in his fury while Otto is better with nasty words. I'm sort of equally sorry for Candy and third. And what exactly do you... figuring out who'd win if all 4 quarrelled. Figuring out who's most likely to get into a fight again. We need a quarrels rating. What for? Just imagine Otto's face when he loses the top spot to some newbie or two. Hehe, you're evil. So then, you're getting the picture? I'm sorry, but I don't understand. Is this to calculate the statistical error? Did it take you a whole minute to figure this out? Chen, you should do less field work and focus on some serious research before it's too late. So, am I right? Well, yeah, we should be able to use this function for tests and different levels of stabilization in the void with significantly less incoming data. So you're saying, so the new formula requires fewer angles, adjustments and time while we still get the same result. It's genius. You get it now? Phew, you got me like a junior assistant. I thought it might be good for Candy to hear that you considered her formula genius. Well, it would be also good for her to hear that she's useless, wasting time on all that random nonsense instead of doing something serious. I highly doubt that Eric Hansen founded Crystal City by simply sitting around doing nothing. Which is why, Candy, you'll get nowhere in the end, and you'll only succeed at burying your talent deep underground. Talent is another word that should have been said out loud. Thanks, Otto. I've underestimated you again, Chen. That's okay. It'll take a couple more times telling Candy how good she is, and you'll learn your lesson. Jen, I'm so sorry. I did go over the calculations, but I must have gotten distracted. Yes, that's just what I thought. Forgive me. For what? For this performance. You're awesome, and your approach is so original. See, even Otto admits it. We can find someone to double check the maths after you, should we ever need to, but there's no finding another you. I was so scared. I thought, what if you take his word for it and we... Everything's fine. May I not work with him anymore? No, but I'll try making your interactions more comfortable, I promise. You're so nice. Oh, she's been standing there for quite a while now. I'm struggling to come up with an opening line to come on stage with a boom. Actually, I wanted to help you with something, or at least distract you from nothing. Iris? Yep, that's me. I'm sorry we've been like this and you've had to see it all. Hope you're not going to think badly of me. I'm not. You've come up with a genius formula after all. You remembered! My, I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you, Iris. Thanks a lot. Am I frozen? Oh. Candy, don't worry. And by the way, Marco was asking after you, and Suzumu will probably be back from the lab soon. He should have the reports on the third series of experiments on him. Deal with all the paperwork, all right? About the paint. Yes, he mentioned it. Sure, I'll dash and find Marco. See you later, Iris. Did you want to help? I need to go back to Tony, and meanwhile, Takeo could use an assistant. He's got Maximilian with him. You know about the cracks, right? Uh-huh. You could say I'm one of the witnesses to that mysterious and highly random event. Great. They're behind the bus. Must configure all the final settings. Would you like anything with your tea? No, thanks. Iris, why are you standing over there? Come here. I thought that... Hello, Iris. I've got your medication. Let's step aside. I need to brief you on the dosage. Maximilian, excuse me, I'll be back soon. Iris, are you going to be okay? Hope so. Takeo is so creative. Do you approve then? I'm just curious what he's come up with. Hee hee. Tell me, Doctor, what's wrong with me? Am I dying? In the foreseeable future? Hardly. By the way, are you well? I'm fine in general. There are a few problems, but now I've come to help and ended up involved in your cunning scheme for tricking the naive Maximilian. Sarcasm fully justified, but thanks for not ratting me out. Regarding your problems, is it anything urgent or can we talk later tonight? Tonight is good. Excellent. So here's the context. We need to create a situation that Maximilian will not be able to ignore and hence will react to. The situation must be safe, involve minimal stress and seem believable, something that could just as well happen without our direct input. Here's an example for you. Tea and the sugar shaker. While with me, Maximilian did not touch the shaker, yet now he seems to be adding sugar to his tea. My observations indicate that cracks typically close when the person is doing something they want to. Therefore, Maximilian's incident can be considered unique. He wanted to do nothing, Dora let him, and the crack appeared at once. Normally, it should have been the other way around. Here's my hypothesis. Maximilian does not fully understand what he actually wants, so we're going down a level to see how he makes choices when the impact of external factors is minimized. Use objects within his reach. Has Dora already explained to you how to influence things from a distance? Nah, can I lift the bus with the power of my thought? Theoretically, you are hardly powerful enough though. When creating an object, there's this instant where you have already invested some energy, but not enough. Try materializing something small next to my paper holder, but stop halfway through. I'll generate the pressure, but not the actual item yet, correct? Indeed, and don't worry, you cannot materialize an object into an object. Excellent. Try not to attract any attention to us. Maximilian should not realise that the experiment is already in progress. You have got about 5 to 7 minutes before he gets suspicious. Any questions? Is it a double experiment? Are you going to watch me and then use what you see someplace else? Let's just say I'm going to write down every detail. Okay, I've got a few ideas. I can make something clink on the shelves and the sound will probably catch his attention. Or I can drop a box, not onto Max, but next to him. Or undo one of the tent corners. You can also flash that lamp like in a horror movie, or make that football roll up to his feet. You're the perfect help for Takeo. Don't get distracted. I think we have enough time to do 3 out of 5, as long as we stop chatting. Hee hee. Right. Shelf. Hope you didn't have anything breakable there. Shh, his reaction. And? Is there a rapper amongst us? The community provides us with plenty of gold. It's a cheap resource for experiments. It looks like you have managed to pick up on his memories rather than desires. It's clearly something personal, so I will not even write it down. Why would anyone tie this up? So now we're talking. That's how you do it. This is insane. The crackers closed so much. Whoa, but what does it tell us? How fixing tents enhances the quality of Max's life? Although I've always known that ropes make everything better. True that. It seems like Maximilian wants to organise the space around him. Very telling, and it's most likely he would have done nothing of the sort in my presence. And in mine too, probably. Box. Brace yourself for an exciting story about poorly secured items. I think you are right. Our time is up. Thanks, Iris. You've really helped me out. There's still many other tests to be conducted. For now, however, it seems like the cracks are affected by the true aspirations that the person does not acknowledge and does not act on their social. Do you know what I've just realised? They said maths, not math. And they said football, and it's a football. This is a British translation, but I think it's supposed to be American. Okay. Cracks are affected by the true aspirations that the person does not acknowledge or does not act on due to their social behaviour. It appears that the further development of therapy should not be based purely on acting on a patient's proclaimed desires, but also on searching for those true aspirations. Simply speaking, this is a psychologist's job. Better even a few of them. Psychotherapy is very underdeveloped in our world, and maybe our experiment will convince the community to invest more resources in this field. Let's go. We should tell Maximilian of the results and that the experiment has in fact already been conducted. I'm planning on blaming you all along. That is reasonable. Iris, look. Yes, I've seen it. Congratulations. What do you mean, seen it? I have to admit, we have already conducted the experiment and it was quite successful, as you can see. Iris was helping me create various situations where I observed how you would react. Really? What about the tent, Iris? Was it also you who undid it? Honestly, it wasn't too secure in the first place. Totally. Maximilian, let's try something else. But this time you'll tell me right away. Yes. There are salted crisps. He says crisps! Taffy. See, we don't say taffy. We don't have taffy. This is so weird. They're saying crisps, but they're also saying taffy, which means nothing to anyone in this country. Other than a sweet that Americans talk about on American TV shows. And sour berries. You can pick any one to snack to eat. Any one snack to eat. And I will throw away the rest. What do you mean by throw away? For good. Take your pick. Iris, what would you pick? Listen, I'm not good at making others' decisions for them. I'm sure Takeo won't judge you either way. He will not indeed. And you're not going to tell anyone? Even Dora? Especially Dora. Excellent. Want some more tea? And you, Iris? It was so much fun. So he didn't pick up the crisps and he didn't pick up the berries. So that was the taffy. He picked up the taffy. Okay. I'm like, what has he got? As in Takeo was fun, or not just him? Takeo, well, yes. Turns out he understood Maximilian better than Maximilian did himself. I suppose, and so maybe Maximilian will eventually learn to understand himself. And the cataracts of heaven will open and the world will plunge into darkness. Very unlikely. I know you meant it, that it has seriously helped Max. And it can help even more, not just him. Dear all, we're standing on the threshold of today's greatest breakthrough. And are horsing around a little on the same threshold. Ooh, ooh. Okay. Find out Maximilian's wretched secret. You're the reason Maximilian gets better. Complete scientist tasks at least 2. Okay. Are you going to ask Fabrizio for help? Or Dora, which is a more pleasant option? Or I'll go back to the camp. Okay. It's been so long since I did 8 Ball. Are you kidding? That's not an answer. Should I go to Fabrizio? Who knows? These are not answering my questions. Dora then? Don't bet on it. Eight Ball. You are not helping me, 8 Ball. Can I go back to camp now? No way. Okay. So Fabrizio was who knows. Dora was don't bet on it. Okay, so we'll do Fabrizio. 8 Ball's no help whatsoever. Fab, do you have a minute? Something wrong? I'd like to ask you for help. Would you please open a door for me to the Bedford Street Police Station? To return the favour, I can send your greetings to someone there or check on some case files you're interested in. Or something else maybe. Let's just agree now on what it is. You're being very openly trusting. Nah, not really. That's unexpected, but it so happens that I need to fetch something from general storage there. Guess we could help each other out. Something, blood-stained evidence, service weapons, some maniac's interrogation protocols for you to read at night. My police badge. Looks like all your guesses were wrong. But some were pretty close. I'm sorry, but what for? We've all got our whims. Do we have a deal? My apologies, but I need to get back to Johnny, so please make up your mind. Will I regret this? Possibly, but I still don't see how or why. Prompt on cue, you're very kind of prejudiced against him. Bad Iris. Yes, we have a deal. I'll write down the badge number for you. Enjoy your visit. Oh, you look so cool. Can I help you with... Oh, that's you. Oh no, just not this. Do you want to find out the details of the investigation into your prototype's murder? Phew, she's not a fan. I'm sorry, it was unprofessional of me. I'm Detective Constable Michelle Lewis, or simply Michelle. It's the one interested in the case. Ain't I lucky? Maybe. I'm Iris, and you're right. I want to learn about the murder. Can't stop taking it too close to heart. My condolences. Take a seat, please. My colleague, Detective Joseph Campbell, is handling your case. He's downstairs right now. There's a drugs bust going on today, so most of the officers are on duty reflecting. You will agree to answer a couple of questions, won't you? Can I call my lawyer, though? Are you going to read out my rights? Don't worry, I won't use everything you might say against you. All right, I'm in. But first tell me, what do you know? Sure. The murder victim is Serena Elise. Oh, I keep saying Elise. Elsie. Serena Elsie. 26 years of age, an actress. Her body was found in her dressing room at the Theatre of London on the 7th of September around 5 p.m. by Suzanne Loris. See, is it supposed to be set in London? There's a lot of British wordings, spellings, phrases, but this police officer has a gun. And they don't. They're not sitting around in the police station wearing a gun in a holster. That's American. I'm really confused where this is supposed to be set. According to the coroner's report, her death occurred as a result of a stab wound to the heart. The murder weapon was discovered at the crime scene. The main suspect is Thomas Mantle, owner of a chain of centres for yoga, harmony and personal growth called Sleek Creek. We have reasons to believe that his chain is a facade for the notoriously known LVIII sect. Police have tried to plant an agent with the Sleep Creek several times but had no success. Mantle puts on a very convincing show of prioritising the well-being of his subjects above all. We know that he has long sought to meet Serena Elsie. 3 days before her death, we made her an offer and she agreed to help us. Her meeting with Mantle took place in a cafe with our agents undercover. Serena was also wearing a microphone. Judging by their recorded conversation and Serena's testimony, Mantle's main goal of the evening was to convince her to continue their conversation at his place. When she refused, he said, and I quote, "You will deeply regret this." Here's the motive right there. Subject's well-being on the other hand and cliche threats on the other. Glorious. 5 hours after that conversation, Serena was found dead. Mr. Mantle has no alibi. He insists that he spent the second half of the day meditating at home with no witnesses present. Let me get that interrogation footage. Police have also worked through other versions. There was another suspect, Serena's husband, Fenrir Dahlberg. However, CCTV footage confirmed his alibi. Tech Review has confirmed it as authentic. Either way, he was also alone at his home at the time of the murder. I still can't get used to the fact that she has a husband. Had a husband. Hold on a second, Dahlberg. That fellow whose name was on the prescription for the medication. I knew it. He's a psycho. Glorious. Calm down. Let's find out more. So what does he do? Apart from making impressionable young minds crumble over his incredible riches, that is. He's a billionaire running a successful business building and selling luxury yachts, so any financial motive is out of the picture. Damn it. Is he special at all in any way but his money? Is he tall, handsome, blonde with a Nordic background? You're not helping. The news of his wife's death also triggered his nervous breakdown. I found footage from both Dahlberg's and Mantle's interrogation. Which one would you like to see first? Staring at the screen with a stranger. He's wearing so many rings and bracelets, and does he have a fake tan? Really not her type at all. Apart from the beard, he's okay. Well, they both got beards. I'm looking at the one on the right. Apart from the beard, he's okay. Yeah, nothing Viking-ish about it whatsoever. And is the tan guy her husband? It's the other way around. That's the murderer. What the? Our murderer is our husband? Roy is our husband? Apparently so. What are we going to do? Stupid question. What can we even do? I got this. We'll get a divorce. Do you know any decent lawyers? Should we maybe talk to him first? Sure thing. I've got him on speed dial. Hey Roy, no more like, hey honey, what wonderful weather it is today, don't you think? And by the way, haven't you forgotten that we're married? What do you mean you didn't know? I have to admit it has slipped my mind too. And do you know that your prototype's name is Fenrir and he's a billionaire? Also know he sells yachts, and the news of his wife's death triggered his nervous breakdown. First he kills and then he gets upset. What nervous breakdown? Hold it, I'll check for you. I saw Fenrir murder Serena. I was there reflecting. How does he get to have a nervous breakdown? No way. Here, watch this. That's not my wife. 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 I already told you that's not my wife. He's currently in a psychiatric care and it's going well so far as I know. However, I don't have any footage from further interrogations. Damn it, Sue should have told them. They've been after the wrong guy this whole time. Damn it, damn it, damn it. If Dahlberg is our murderer, why do all this alone since he managed to find someone to cook him up an alibi? Because he ran out of pills on that day? Should we ask? Is he even sane in general? Based on his medical data, he is. I mean, he's having a nervous breakdown, but given the entire situation. Do you have any other information, Iris? I have a prescription order for a chemist written out to his name. It's some neuroleptic. Medications like this are prescribed to treat mental and neurological disorders of various degrees of severity. Thanks, I'll add it to the file. I don't understand anything. Me neither. There's more and more data though. At some point there will be enough and we'll figure this out. I hope so. So are you saying he may have framed Mantle? Why would you think that? Have you seen the blade? Mantle has an image of the same blade tattooed. And besides, it also features the favourite line from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Hold on, how does it go exactly? Got this. There is no beginning and no end. You ever heard this phrase before? No. Someone started asking questions while I still have a few of my own left, which I cannot verbalise properly. About Fenrir. No, not about why he did it. It's clear that Michelle doesn't know. Something about how he's connected to all these people. Iris, you alright? Can I ask you about... Can I go first though? Go ahead. I suspect this won't be like that chat with Suze. On the one hand, Michelle is not trying to hide anything. On the other hand, she's not the detective on my case, so she may not know a few things or not mention something she doesn't consider important. Yet still, she's a cop and she's already trying to ask questions. It's time to think hard, I mean. It's notepad time. Do you want to write something down? It just makes it easier to sort out the mess in my head, helps me think straight. Of course, I'm not rushing you. So we needed to be focused on you, but not too much. If she's not interested enough, she might not remember certain valuable details. If she's too interested, the inner detective will unleash more questions back at us. Ah! To keep that inner detective at bay, it probably makes sense to act naturally. Damn, but how? I can speak calmly like a police officer. Guess you'll be comfortable with that. Although maybe speaking emotionally is better. After all, it's a personal story for me and people get emotional when it's personal. Or try sarcasm. I am usually a little too sarcastic. Maybe she's noticed that already. I think all three approaches will work. But you also have to hold her attention. So no repeating the approaches. Aha, should work. In that case, better lay out the strategy from the beginning. One approach per question, so we won't even get to choose the time we get to the final one. And yet the final question is the most important, because Michelle will try and answer in as much detail as possible to move on with a free conscience. Okay. Fenrir and Thomas. Do the suspects know each other? Has anyone seen them together? What do they say about each other? Let's be sarcastic. Murderer frames the sex follower. Don't even know what could be more ironic than this. Heh. I wonder how often it happens that a man decides to murder someone, also frames some sect along the way. Any percentage stats maybe? Less than 1%. Official evidence suggests that Mantle and Dahlberg are not connected in any way. They had never met in person and they hardly knew anything about one another apart from rumours. Do you think Fenrir just pointed the finger at a random passerby and it fell into place conveniently? You're being ironic, but Mantle insists that he has been followed for the past 2 weeks. Overall, we had no reason to trust him. But then came Iris. Yes, and his reflection statement backs it up. Did you assume that anyone could be following the harmless head of the centre? Yes. His reflection, however, he may have seen Dahlberg in the street a week ago. But he cannot tell for sure. Sunglasses, a car with the blacked out windows, and all street lights broken. Classic. It was very dark outside, and Mantle's reflection really wants to help us, so he could be imagining things. So it's a yes. Looks like Dahlberg's been preparing to frame none other than Mantle for quite some time, and he did. How very consistent of him. Fenrir and Serena. How is it possible you've never seen him? By chance, at least, did they even live together? Emotional. She'll tell you everything, but I'm afraid you won't enjoy it. Are you all right? No. Tell me, Michelle, was she happy with him? Witnesses state they were a great couple. They took care of each other and they definitely had chemistry. Judging by their bank statements, Fenrir bore the majority of family expenses, but Serena often gave him gifts, as in with her own money. Nevertheless, the house is specifically divided into his and her halves. According to the house personal statements, she visited his half all the time while he almost never went to hers. He has a phobia. She's an actress and hence needs a lot of mirrors, so it generally checks out. A phobia. A fear of mirrors, to be precise. It's not too commonplace, but it does get diagnosed. He's got a phobia of mirrors and he murdered his wife in front of a mirror. I should discuss it in more detail, but probably later when we get back to talk about Roy. Would you like some water? No, thank you. Iris, before your testimony, I had no reason to suspect Dahlberg could harm his wife in any way. His nervous breakdown seems genuine. None of their common friends or relations suspect him of anything. They even went on vacation together not that long ago. Switzerland, I think. And I thought she was attending a masterclass in Switzerland. Glorious. Basically, to answer your question, I cannot know if she was happy. However, based on what we know, I believe she was. Thanks. The final question is the most important. Do you think that Fenrir's fear of mirrors is the key to it all? It could be. There's no point in drama. You ask a direct question and you get a direct answer. I know that you've talked to the reflection of Suzanne Loris. And what about Fenrir's reflection? We've got nothing. He's never been here. We have no way of contacting him. As I've mentioned, Dahlberg has a fear of mirrors. They interrogated him in a separate room. We are very lucky that detectives review their footage so we can make our own copies of their screens. Wait a minute, so why does this phobia not prevent him from visiting a barbershop twice a week and getting reflected there? And from killing too, by the way. Are you claiming that he... There's nothing in our files on his frequent visits to a barbershop. The barbershop with actual mirrors. And I mean, oh my. According to the data I've seen, Dahlberg is trying to correct his condition under medical supervision. This means he could technically only get reflected in his doctor's office regularly. Looks to me like the whole barbershop thing is an indication of moderate therapy success. And are those pills from the prescription part of his therapy? Don't know about that. And how do you explain him avoiding mirrors during interrogation? Regress often happens during stress. Or maybe he doesn't actually have a phobia at all. So that is also possible, yes. I wonder what Roy would say to this. Who is Roy? Fenrir's reflection. So it is him you've got any information about the barbershop from? By the way, I can probably ask him to visit if you're interested. I mean, if it can help further the investigation, that is. Do you hang out? I'm sorry, that was unprofessional of me. Ask him to visit us, please. He can probably shed light on a few things. Did you say that Fenrir was trying to correct his condition? Yes, before he met Serena, he couldn't bear to even be in the same room with a mirror. She convinced her husband to start therapy. So this means that he never been reflected before he met her, right? We don't know that for sure, but he definitely put all the effort into not reflecting anywhere. When did Roy have to reflect his prototype for the first time? And when did those barbershop visits begin? I should probably find out. And one more thing, that night she smiled at him as he entered. Did she think he was no longer hurting? Yeah. Iris, it's likely that he indeed has a phobia. Many people fear one thing or another. Yes, but why mirrors? Some sort of psychological trauma from his younger years. I haven't seen anything specific about it in the files. That is no reason. Glorious. Thank you, Michelle. And now, if you don't mind, I need a few more minutes to gather my thoughts. Of course. By the way, if you ever want to join the Reflection Police, do let me know. I can probably help. I think I've just told you literally everything I knew, and I've only realised it just now. Recommendations from practitioners or scientists will be enough. Thanks. Make the most of your conversation with Michelle. So my investigation was perfect. Yay, me! You want something, I can feel it. Go on, say it. I was just thinking, why go on holiday with somebody if you're planning to kill her? Well, how about out of guilt? Michelle said that Mantle was being followed over the past 2 weeks before the murder. This means they just got back from Switzerland and Fenrir immediately, so something happened during their vacation. Damn. Could be the case. There's one more thing. Serena agreed to help the police 3 days before her murder, and by then they'd already been following Mantle a while. Looks like Fenrir made up his mind before that. Did he know she wouldn't refuse to cooperate? And did he know the police needed someone planted? He has an insider at the police station. Bloody hell. But I'm glad you thought of that. I mean, we both have. Uh-huh. Actually, I wanted to ask why you went through the most important subjects the way you did. Fenrir and Roy now, and police station when talking to Suze. You pick as the most important questions that are not directly about Serena. Why? Avoidance, darling, as a psychologist would put it, I think. And how would you put it? I'll just avoid answering this. I just think that your choice is starting to affect you. The thing is, you know how you feel about something, and you know what you were doing. You don't need to ask someone else a question about who you are and what you think. She needs to ask questions about who Serena is, but she doesn't have to ask questions about herself. Especially when she can ask those questions of herself. She's got a second version of herself. Or not you as such, more likely what you focus on. It's like configuring my lens. Should probably get back to Michelle now. Apricot, he can always feel it when I'm stressed. He's so sweet. I didn't know that police cats were a thing in London. She's in London. Why are you wearing a gun? Why are you wearing a gun? They don't sit around in their offices wearing a gun in a holster. It's not how it works. Armed response units have to check out their gun. They have to be... No. Fucking hell. To be honest, this story is quite sad. Tell me, I'll get my mind off thinking how my murderer is my husband, or her murderer is my husband, or my murderer is her husband, or our murderer is our husband. Well, you know, along those panicky lines. The neighbours called the police. This girl was trying to leave her man, but he wouldn't let her go and was trashing the flat to make his point. Started with things that then got to her, then the cat just happened to be there, so he threw it out the window, the 7th floor. They were all brought to the station. The police called for a vet, but it was too late. Poor Apricot. It broke my heart. The way he fawned upon his human until the very end. And the most wrongful thing, she withdrew her statement later. That's how we got to have him. Apricot is a smart kitty. He's careful and just so fluffy, but I'm always worrying about him. Animal reflections do not understand that they cannot go into the void, and that human reflections cannot but ignore them. Every time I start to reflect, I worry about him. Well, and he requires some serious attention too. Am I right, cutie? Wish I could find someone to take care of him, but I honestly have no idea how to do that. Are we gonna give... Are we gonna give Tony a cat? Are we gonna give Tony a cat? Oh my God, offer to take Apricot for Tony. I've got an idea actually. I know this very nice guy who's mad about cats, and our curator can easily watch over Apricot too. Dora can indeed, but she probably won't be ecstatic about this. Tony will be though. Good point. Who's your curator? Her name is Dora. We're currently on an expedition looking for new lands. Oh my gosh, you know Fabrizio? He's one of the practitioners. This picture just materialised. How's he doing? Is he alright? Fabrizio is my former partner. We've been through so much together. I miss him terribly. Now, this is random. I don't really know him that well. He works a lot, I think. The usual, doesn't care about himself at all. Cannot just walk past and not lend a helping hand. I bet he would solve your case. He's the best, the most reliable, the most loyal and decent. Excuse me, I really miss him so much. He could come across a little rude at first, but he was an exemplary officer and friend. He died in a shootout, dove in front of my prototype to save her. I mean, that's how his prototype died, but I know Fabrizio would have done the same thing for me. They were practically the same person, him and his prototype. See? And you didn't like him. Could come across a little rude, but it seems like he's been working on his temper and is now the epitome of politeness. Indeed, but the heart has a will of its own. I'll continue disliking him and being ashamed of it. I applied to move here after his death. We used to work together on Comber Grove. Will you say hi to him from me and pass on a note? I'll write it down at once. I will, sure. By the way, Fab asked me to pick up his badge. Its number is... I remember the number. Back then, right after it all happened, he said he had no right to take it, so he must have changed his mind. It's been so long, I'll go get from general storage when we're finished up here. And I'll give you Apricot with his feed and his things, but promise me you'll visit every now and then and tell me how he's doing. Tony, look at what you've got me doing for you. I promise. Oh, we'd do anything for Tony. Thank you. I am, as you probably know, very much not a cat person, but this is going to make Tony so happy. Now tell me everything you know about Serena's death and I'll just put the recorder on. I don't really have much to add. The prototype, Fenrir, didn't say a single word, and nor did Serena. I didn't see him leave. Oh, but he was wearing gloves. What about the time of the murder? I'm not sure, although it didn't take more than half an hour for the body to be discovered, so I guess it was around 4:30 p.m. Thank you. I can ask Michelle a couple more questions, and Apricot and I would head straight to Tony. Did Thomas say anything useful during his interrogation? If you want, I can play it for you, but overall he didn't really. He's a vessel for cosmic energies, and he has listened to the pulse of nature's giant beating heart. He realised that when Serena sees the truth, the balance between the good and evil will tilt in the favour of the good. Fenrir, Suzanne, us, the entertainment industry, it's all our fault that we have allowed the prophet in the making to perish, albeit unknowingly. Serena being the prophet, delightful. I think so. At least that's what he claims. Suzanne Lorez introduced him and Serena to each other at some point, and that's when the wheel of destiny was set in motion. It's all very confusing. So it was Susie who introduced them. Susie's prototype? Blur. And she knew it. Yoga, harmony and courses of some sort. She knew and said nothing. The only thing she cares about is making an impression. Idiot. She's not to blame for whatever her prototype did, though. Whom she doesn't separate herself from. Definitely an idiot. I'm sorry. Where can I get hold of Fenrir's subsequent interrogations? Where can I get hold of them? Downstairs, but there are too many reflections there now. Entry is not allowed. Either way, you have no permission to go down there, full stop. I think someone will copy them in the next week or two and bring them here. I see. Why aren't you downstairs? You mentioned there's a drug bust going on today, which is why most of the officers are downstairs. Why aren't you too? Because of Apricot. And my prototype also works another shift. She's getting her sleep, and I was going to sort out some paperwork. And see, we've made progress on the case. It's a good thing I'm here. How often does it make sense for me to come down here? As I understand, the investigation is still ongoing, and you're on it too. How often should I visit? I can't say for sure, but if I were you, I'd pay a visit in a couple of weeks. I think they'll file a case on Mantle, and we'll get a copy of it. There may also be some new information about Dahlberg. Okay, I'll find the time. Thank you. Tell me about your work in police in general. Our standing is a bit awkward. On the one hand, while a police officer's prototype is alive, the community supports their business, investigations and training, all the missions and operations. On the other hand, when our prototypes die, we are not allowed to stay. It is considered too risky and of little value. So some move on to work with the Reflections Police, but most join the practitioners. But what about reflect and forget? It's a motto that isn't always relevant and doesn't apply to everyone. You could say we're all idealists here. What do you mean? If we ever manage to bridge the mirror and establish contact with the prototypes, we'll be able to tell them so much. And help them too. Michelle has helped just like that. It's sort of unusual. She's got a stake in it too, even though I had to think properly about the questions. The genre implies that tension should only go up from this point onwards, so we can talk about something less pleasant next time, or take a trip to the dangerous part of the station. Close-ups, guns, chases. We'll definitely have to get involved with something dodgy too. Sounds like a plan. Here's Michelle. So we're good to go? Tell Fabrizio that he's the best ever. I'll tell him you miss him. Thank you for helping me. And thank you too. Hope we'll eventually manage to figure out Dahlberg's motive. Don't forget that we're open on workday evenings, weekend mornings. I'll be happy to have you any day that works for you. Thank you, Michelle. Hey there, Iris. What's the cat for? And the rest of it? Yeah, really. I'm not the one who needs a cat. But you did bring it with you, no? At long last, Iris. My, what is this? Where do I even begin? Apricot, what are you? Are you really a cat? How did you get here? Have I really bought you myself? And what for? See, a reasonable question at last. Tony! Apricot, this is Tony. Tony, this is Apricot. Oh my goodness, are we about to make him so happy? Pudding, Alice, Alice, pudding. I am so happy. I'm so going to cry now. Iris too. Me too. Oh my goodness. Hey, you fix those waterworks in my head now. Now then, Iris, explain yourself. I came back and bought Tony a cat. Pretty much it. I came back and bought Tony a cat. They became friends at once, which has really helped Tony. Ah, yes, and then Tony took the cat with him inside the bus. Am I missing anything? Iris! And then you told me to explain myself and I stopped clowning around. Why did you even think that he needed a cat? Rika, the one he's calling all the time, was a cat. People that Tony likes gets called fuzzy for a reason. So now we're travelling not just with you, but with a cat too. Although its effect on Tony was truly remarkable, I have to say. Maximilian third, what's with you two standing there? Dora, I've never seen anything like this. Me neither. Well, did you get a good enough look? Get started on dinner then. Why is she angry that Tony is happy and Tony is healing? Isn't that what she's supposed to want? I don't get it. Why is she pissed off? Iris, and what are all these things? It's the cat's fortune. Maximilian, get everything on the bus, please. Iris, you go on and explain to Tony why the cat eats, relieves itself, and sheds fur, and then tell him how to take care of it. I'm going to see Takeout and check on you while I'm back. Would you just look at the things I do for you, Tony? Totally worth it, though. I know. It was a cry from the heart. Make the most of your conversation with Michelle. Self-care about Dora's task. Oh, so this isn't about my own stuff. You and someone else made Tony happy. How did I miss this? What was this? We had cake. We had the dessert thing. When was this? When did I miss this? When did I miss this? Oh my God, the cat though. All right, remember me young, Dora. This is all your own doing. I'm finally free for a while. Come with me? Where to? Your cozy hideout? Yes, although I usually simply call it truck. Whoa. By the way, your knees are almost touching. I think the box wasn't as close as last time as it is now. I'm sure Roy just likes to move stuff around. Well done him. First of all, our game. I want to change the rules. Tell him to stop being all lyrical. This will make romantic involvement with Roy less likely. I don't mind. as long as there's no lyrical subtext involved. I have one question, and your answer means a lot. Any answer. Not necessarily a pleasant one, but answer. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is I'll do anything you want in return. No competing, just one question in the whole world in return for the answer. This is where the uneasy drum roll should set off. Ask away. It's just the two of us here now. Are you comfortable, or does my presence still remind you of the murder? It does. I'm sure I'll manage though. I see. Are there ever at all any moments when you just talk to me? I mean, just like another fellow human? As in, would you hang out with me if I had never killed you? That's one way of putting it. I would hang out with you. Thank you. Iris, have you forgiven me for the murder and the whole thing with Dora? Here's a hint. I'm sitting here with you somehow. By the way, how many questions have you asked, and how many wishes do you now owe me? I've forgotten all about the count, to be honest, but there was certainly more than one. What can I do for you? How about stop blaming yourself? Anything else? That would be enough. I'll try. Tell me, how is your investigation going? It's ongoing. Oh, and by the way, will you please visit the Bedford Street Police Station? I understand that you don't really know much, but they appreciate every little detail, and you'll be able to confirm confirm the murderer's identity. Alright, I'll pay them a visit. I've got a question. Have you never had to reflect in a doctor's office? Your prototype seems to be trying to do something about his phobia of mirrors. Blimey, he does have spectrophobia after all. I thought it was possible, but was never fully sure. The fear of mirrors has a fancy name to it, and Roy knows it. Delightful. Anyway, no, I've never had to. Maybe they used to work with some other non-mirror objects. Or he doesn't have any phobias of this kind, given his barbershop addiction, I guess, where I stand on this. Yes, you're probably right. Now can I tell Roy that his prototype was married to Serena? That he is your husband? Formally speaking, he is not, but you're right. I can put it this way and see how he reacts. If I want to ask him when he first began to reflect Fenrir, I definitely should. After all, it concerns Serena directly. Or I might keep it to myself. Say, because I can. Tell Roy he is the reflection of Serena's husband. There's something else. I'll tell you and you won't believe me. I'll try my best. Okay then, you're my husband. I told you that you wouldn't believe me. We had a quiet little wedding in a chapel in France, and then we sneaked off to on an around-the-world cruise. Do I remember everything right? You're asking the wrong person. I don't even know what dress I got to wear. Serena once tried on a whole ton of them, but that surely was for some brand advertising or not. You had it easy, from the barbers and straight to the altar. Nothing spectacular. I've almost bought it. His name is Fenrir Dahlberg. He's super rich. He sells yachts. He had a nervous breakdown after his wife's passing. You're not joking. I've been trying to indicate this from the very start. But why would he murder Serena? That's a great question, actually. I thought that he maybe just lost it, like gone temporarily mad or something. I found the prescriptions for neuroleptics in her bag. However, the police are claiming that his health is not an issue. They showed me in a video. In fact, Fenrir is clearly not himself, and he just keeps repeating, "That's not my wife." So is she his wife or not? Legally she is, but whatever he means by that. So odd. Fenrir. It's the first time I even hear it. I should have come with you. Another question. Have you been reflecting for a long time? Official information implies that Fenrir only started looking into mirrors after meeting Serena, which is 6 years ago. Damn, I don't know, probably. My first memory goes back about 6 years. No childhood memories, no earlier memories, but I've got a basic grasp of how our world works here. It didn't take me long to figure out that I wasn't a regular case. I got to the scientists and submitted myself for research. They were the ones to suggest that my prototype had spectrophobia. Regardless of whether or not this is true, I hadn't had to reflect him before that. Turns out Fenrir met Serena and turned his life around completely. Thank you, Iris. At least I understand now what is going on with me. I've got something for you. To be honest, I'm anxious about it. He's anxious that you might not like it? How adorable. I promise I won't shoot myself if they don't fit. That's good to know, but I meant something different with these. Certain evidence suggests that those who die in front of the mirror gradually recall the skills of their prototypes. We should check and talk to Takeo. Why be anxious about it though? If I can dance like Serena did, then awesome. If I can't, that's fine too. Because they recall the personality too, apart from the skills, the knowledge, the struggles, the experience. I don't quite understand how this works since I wouldn't know, but you're probably in danger. Any comments? I don't know. I remember nothing about Serena's life apart from what we've both seen. And how about the whole administering first aid thing? Didn't it just resurface in your head? You've also become more active since you died. My inner voice was never this clear before. Maybe you weren't this lonely before. And you were also telling me what to do when the bus sank. I wanted to help, and I did apologise. Aha, talking to Takeo is getting increasingly appealing. Iris? I didn't want to scare you. This information may well turn out unreliable. We'd better check. I got lost in my thoughts. Sorry. Sure, let's check. It's just that I need an even surface and a pair of better fitting trousers. Let me rob Dora just a little and I'll see you on the nearest road. Let's go see Takeo. Uh-huh. Let me change my shoes first. Learn to dance. I got a learn to dance achievement. There we go. I just need to honk my hooah. Sorry. It is irrational to worry this much. I guess so, but still. I did unmute, right? Takeo, sorry, we need your help. Let me know if I can help too. What's going on? Those who die in front of the mirror get to inherit their prototype skills, experiences, and even personal qualities. I've heard about it today. Me and Iris, we decided to check if it was true, and it does seem to hold, at least with regard to skills. Can you evaluate the risks and tell her what to expect? Iris, if you want, we can talk in private, just you and me. You can tell others whatever you feel appropriate to share later. Well, it seems like Takeo allows for the fact that I had other problems earlier on today. Or just for the fact that I may not want to share. I think I'd rather a private chat with Takeo. Roy will go nuts, although technically the whole thing concerns me exclusively. The only thing left to do is figure out if I like Roy, who is nuts. Are you still joking? Haha, Ed 2, Iris. Anyway, time to decide. Chat in private, Roy to say, Ten to join. Both Roy and Chen to join. Why not summon all of my dearest friends? Chloe, Johnny, Suze, Diaz, Max, Fabricio. Actually, maybe not Fabricio. Missing the crowd? More like having a hunch that anyone here would be more useful than just me alone. I'd like Chen to join and Roy to stay. Tell me everything from the beginning. Serena could dance flamenco and I couldn't, but I just did, and I was pretty impressive. And I don't see how this is a drastic development. What is, though? Not necessarily dramatic per se, but it was like I suddenly saw her dancing on stage in a dress and shoes, and I sort of became her for a while, and I stopped being myself. One could say I'm really not thrilled. Neither am I. It's good that we found out though. Aha, although I wonder what could have come of it. By the way, if anything, say, fell on me while I was dancing, I'm not sure I'd be quick enough to react. Should probably hire a page just in case. He'll be running around and fending off dangers while I'm at it. The idea sounds reasonable, but I'm afraid I will not be able to commission a page for you. Have you had a similar episode after your prototype's death? Flashbacks, distorted perception of reality, atypical behaviour? I don't see any point in lying. Only once, on the very first day of the expedition, when my crack appeared. That sounds so dirty. It is likely that there is no direct link. As I've said before, nearly everyone has cracks. Go on, please. That time, one detail triggered a memory of my prototype, and I sort of fell into a flashback. Were you also out of current reality then? Exactly. However, I understood perfectly well that I was seeing a memory then, while this time I really didn't. Any other differences? Yes, that time I recalled something that I couldn't have known. Could these memories be inherited from Serena? In theory, yes, but I cannot state anything with complete certainty. When the reflection is constantly in front of the mirror, there are periods when they mimic the prototype mechanically. From these, very few memories are retained. Hello. Oh, Topanga, are you in your baby bed? Oh, she's jumped out because I noticed her. Topanga in the baby bed. I have a picture of her when she was a baby. She's standing on top of it, and it wasn't bowing or anything. She weighed nothing, and she sat on top of it. If she tried to do that now, she would just squash it straight down. But she got into a little baby bed, and she's so big in it. And it used to be a huge thing around her tiny little body. She's all grown up. But she's like, I'm still a baby. I can still fit into the baby bed. When the reflection is constantly in front of the mirror, there are periods when they mimic the prototype mechanically. From these, very few memories are retained. In essence, you get something along the lines of déjà vu. Your memories are most likely real, but they have been displaced. So why would they resurface out of nowhere? These things happen after the death of one's prototype. Our link to them is still understudied, but when it snaps, reflections usually cannot adjust to their new circumstances immediately. Should take a couple of months for your memory to recover fully. Let's go back to discussing flashbacks. Any other differences between them? I can tell him that I saw Roy or Fenrir, but then I have to also share that Roy's prototype is Serena's husband. Listen, Takeo is a doctor after all. He hardly concerns himself with the private parts of the story. However, this information may help shed light on things. Tell Takeo. I saw Fenrir, Roy's prototype, in that dream. He's Serena's husband. Unfortunately. Unexpected. Iris, I'm very sorry about this. Me too. Thanks for sharing, Iris. Let's continue. Can you estimate how long you were out of it? A few seconds in both cases. This is expected. I may have said this before. You died in front of the mirror and hence have the physical experience of living through death. Many who have gone through the same thing have flashbacks. Aha, I have a rather specific type of post-traumatic stress disorder. Exactly. I think that when you stopped being yourself, your psyche used disassociation as a protection mechanism to fight painful feelings. I will prescribe you some medication to reduce emotional strain. Is it that bad? Don't worry, it's just a light sedative. Follow the timetable and the dosage. A light sedative, lack of choice. Sob. Everything clear? I didn't mean to, if I did suddenly go right into the mic, I was scratching my shin. I'm sorry if I just went a light sedative right into the microphone. I do not mean to do that. Quite so. I've got a question, if I may, of course. We have already discussed it with Iris. There's one thing I don't understand. Say there's a type of PTSD that's triggered by the physical experience of living through death. Well, I have died 3 times already and yet no symptoms. Is it because my prototype is still alive? Good question. As far as I know, no one who works the same way you do has ever been diagnosed with anything similar. So probably it's not much about the physical experience of living through death per se, but more about living through the death of your prototype. Or something else still. Nevertheless, the symptoms of those who die in front of the mirror are indeed similar to PTSD, so we cannot offer a better diagnosis for now. I will be glad to provide a detailed explanation, but there is very limited research available. I see. And regarding the rest, Iris, I'm with you. There's nothing dangerous about recalling your prototype skills, and it is up to you whether to use them or not. These changes are most likely related to you starting your own separate life. For example, you did not need sleep before, and now you do. The same applies for skills. I did wonder that. When she was in the police station saying, oh, my prototype could be asleep right now, so I'm just doing this work at the office. So I was wondering, when they go to sleep, the reflections just go about their own social life and the reflections don't need to sleep. But then I thought to myself, but in the bus, they all go to bed. So, and Tony's always asleep. So he's just said, yes, you never used to need to sleep, but now you sleep. Are you saying that, starting from today, it is vital that I dance flamenco? Well, do you feel the urge? I don't know, maybe a little. There you go. On the other hand, even if there is no urge, you still have the option now, which is not that bad. Takeo, can I ask Iris a question? Of course. Iris, I'm sorry if this is too personal, but do you remember if flamenco was important to Serena? Not really, but I'm not sure. Do you remember how she used to come into the studio and dance there all alone? At the expense of sleep when she had too much work. She did it to take her mind off things. Although she actually quite liked to dance. Could it be that your subconscious is willing to be closer to her and thus manifests itself through dance? Could be. What an interesting idea, Chen. Thank you. Iris, you may experience your displaced memories coming back, but in the case of flamenco, nothing is pointing at the fact that we are dealing with them. Uncertainty scares us the most, and we try to get rid of it whichever way we can. It's a mere self-defense mechanism. The brain completes certain images relying on its memory and associations. So am I simply letting my imagination run wild? I cannot state with certainty, but this is the most probable version. Hey, inner voice, have I imagined you into being too? In that case, you're very talented. Now, the most controversial subject, personal qualities. Tell me, have you noticed any significant changes to your personality? Tell him about me. I think Takeo can help you figure it all out, and you'll be less stressed we both will be. Doctor, I think my inner voice is kind of Breaking Bad. You might want to rephrase it, but generally speaking, yes. I have no idea how he will react. Okay then, Takeo has asked me if I have any significant personal changes. Do I not? Tell him about the second Iris. To be honest, there are certain changes. Tell me in detail, please. After my prototype's death, my inner voice has become more pronounced. Yep, I know, we all have an inner voice. Yep, arguing with yourself in your head is absolutely fine. Yep, we all sometimes tell our own selves to go to hell. But when my inner voice tries to seize control, and successfully so, I feel like I'm in some low-budget thriller. Do you think this is healthy, Doctor? Iris, you're not afraid to talk about this, and you appear so calm. You're right. We need more drama. This is irrational, Roy. Don't distract her now, please. Iris, you should definitely talk about these things. Thank you for trusting us. Let's get to it, shall we? I need your answer in as much detail as possible. Is your inner voice always there? Does it respond when you call on it? Does it? It does. I guess it's a yes to both questions. Can I ask your inner voice something directly? She can hear you and I'll pass on the answers. So you cannot move her forward consciously, so to speak. No. All right. Does she have her own name? I've never actually thought about this, but Iris is a good name. No, she uses mine. If this other Iris were offered her own separate body, would she want it? What am I going to do with it, though? I'm your inner voice, after all. She says that she's my inner voice, hence does not need her own body. But your inner voice acknowledges herself as a separate person, right? Yes, no. This question feels wrong. We're simply together. I cannot imagine myself being totally apart from you. She doesn't feel like she and I could be totally apart. But she is different, correct? Yes. Obviously. And what does she want? To help, I guess. I'm worried that you might get involved with the wrong people and end up suffering or even hurt. She says she's worried about me and wants to help me. This other Iris, has she tried helping you already? Can she provide an example? Yesterday. I've mentioned this before. During last night's incident, she was very persistent in telling me what to do. Did you agree with her? Not right away, but she's very persistent about imposing her ideas on me. Did she convince you? No, she just wouldn't let me do what I wanted to. In the end, I gave up and did it her way. But was it you who acted upon the decision, not her? That's an interesting question. He's right, I cannot force you into doing anything, said she after she had forced me into doing that one thing. The other Iris thinks you're right. I'm not sure though. I see. Taker, can I ask both Irises a question? Of course. Have there been any other similar situations? I guess not. There totally has been. When Tony fainted, I told you how to... You told me? I thought it just came up on its own. I now have this feeling that I tried to intervene then, but I wasn't. I didn't quite know what I was doing. Delightful. Iris? We just had a discussion. She says that I owe her that sudden burst of my first aid knowledge. What I mean is, when Tony fainted after making all those doors, I suddenly remembered what to do when someone faints. The knowledge just resurfaced in my head. Turns out the other Iris got scared in both cases, with Tony and with the bus. How did she figure it out? I don't know, she just did. Are you scared or what? Well, you don't understand, do you? Even I cannot quite. Again, how could she understand? And she's scared now too. No. This is a different situation. What do you mean? The bus incident, it was Dora who was in danger, and then it had been Tony before. Seems like the second Iris worries about others more than she does about herself. Being under scrutiny makes me uncomfortable, but I think that Jen is right. She's not too thrilled about just how craftily you've picked her rich inner world apart, but she agrees with your version in general. Jen, thank you. I would never have guessed myself. Of course you would, and I know which question you're going to ask next. I have no doubt about that. What does a second Iris hold most dear, the most important? Everything related to Serena, for one thing. And also, I'm struggling for the word. You know when you try to view the situation as it is, without gripping to your first impression of familiar ways of judgment or action? Unblinkered version. Guess so. And probably saying true to yourself. Are you implying that we live in peace and harmony? No, I just like it when you make a decision and then stick to it. Ugh, dull. Everything related to Serena, unblinkered vision and sticking to decisions once made. She's such a buzzkill. What does Serena have to do with all of this? We wouldn't have existed without her. She says we wouldn't have existed without her. Yes, just like you would not without mirrors, Serena's parents and her entire circle of relations that has played a big part in shaping her personality. Well, in that case, because Iris is mostly Serena. She says that I am mostly Serena, and since the other Iris is mostly me, we're now talking degrees of self-identification. Curious. If she really is mostly you, is there anything she has gotten from you directly? None of the good stuff. Hee. Actually, her jokes are sometimes quite decent. At first, she didn't even understand me, so she couldn't relate. Good. I understand that you are getting tired, so one final question when the other Iris sees your flashbacks. Does she like them or not? I like to think flashbacks are a means of preserving something that used to be Serena's. Her memories, maybe. Someone invited you to just rub salt into my wounds. She wants to believe that my flashbacks are memories of Serena's, and this way something that used to be hers still lingers and doesn't disappear. I see, thank you. Iris, I'm no psychiatrist, but I'm not ready to settle on a diagnosis. Oh damn, just when we thought we had Billy Milligan's condition. We have not thought anything. Maybe that was some other us. It's quite hard to diagnose a dissociative identity disorder, and again, I'm no psychiatrist. Alright, but do you have anything to tell me? Yes, as far as I understand, the other Iris has emerged as a reaction to stress caused by Serena's death. Moreover, I am almost certain that you will go back to being your own single self in a while. At the moment, the very core of your common identity with her is comprised of humour, behavioural consistency, and all that concerns Serena. Seems like a stable structure to me, which is good news. The recipe is simple. You should aim to stand united with her. Hold on a second, do you mean that I should figure out Serena's death, stay true to myself, and continue joking? Exactly. If it gets worse, which is possible, let me know right away. In my opinion, the prognosis is a moderately optimistic one. Your psyche is trying to cope with stress, and for the time being, it seems like you will not need any external intervention. I'm actually glad that he doesn't mind the investigation. He supports it even. Yes, me too. It's quite funny that he allowed you to keep joking. Us to keep joking. You're allowed to. Oh. Tell Tego about the voices. Thank you, Tego. We understand more now. You are welcome. Wait a minute. I'll get you the pills. Let's just... Yep, there we go. We've got an achievement with him. Iris, I should tell Dora about what happened. Just the medical facts, since she is your curator and should know these things. Do I want Dora to know? I don't have the best relationship with Dora. But Dora's not done anything wrong. She's just a buzzkill. Okay. I don't have anything against Dora. Let's just do it. Iris, I've got nothing to add to what Takeo said, but remember, you can always come to us when something is bothering you again, alright? Aha, I'll share all my thrilling pathologies with you and Takeo from now on. Yeah, we can share it with Dora, and Dora can also be aware of the fact that you went to them and told them, and they're sharing it with her. You didn't go to her. So we've still got that distance. We've still got that. You are very standoffish, so I'm standing off. Yes. You're very standoffish, so I'm going to stand off. But here's what's going on with me. They can deal with it. They can tell you. This is what we're going with. Okay. I would prefer no pathologies, but it's nice to see your spirits this high. Takeo, we're going to step aside and then come back. Of course. It's good that you've talked to Takeo. It's all under control now. One tiny miserable Iris is not quite all. Depends on how you look at it. But I'm glad to hear you're joking. I should really head back to the camp. Lights out was ages ago. Let's say goodnight to the others and I'll walk you. Trying to sum up tonight, you're a great dancer, which is not scary at all. Yay? Sorry, what? Well, you sound so glum that it felt like I needed to make it clear. So is it a yay or not? Ah, yes, of course, it's a yay. I wonder if there's a way to dance in a scary manner. I guess if you don't know how to, it might look rather clumsy. Not sure it's scary as such, though. I feel like I should definitely try it out. If you want, I can try putting together a wrong playlist. And shut your eyes tight, so that I know from the start that I'm crushing it. No, I'm not going to lie to you, we had a deal. Real shame, I have to try really hard then. I'll try getting into an easily frightened state of mind. Whoa! 6.5 feet of pure fright. I'd love to see that. Duly noted. Now then, Iris, why so late? We need to talk. I didn't mean to be late. What's wrong? Iris, it's not the best time for relationships. You need to focus on yourself, on your future. If this is about Roy, we went to see Takeo together because I had a flashback and it wasn't too comfortable. And what did Takeo say? Are you all right? And why with Roy? Dora, I'm very tired. Takeo will tell you everything. He has prescribed me some pills and it doesn't look like I'm about to die right here. Nothing lethal, so to speak. Fine, I'll talk to him. But you didn't address what I asked about Roy. He just happened to be nearby. Conveniently nearby, Iris. I wasn't joking about relationships. I'm sorry, Dora, but which relationships do you mean? Roy is certainly an attractive man, and I can see the way he looks at you, but there's nothing going on between us. Are you sure? I think I'd notice if it were. He's not Tony. I'm sorry, I thought that. Sorry, Iris, I'm just worried, that's all. Well, fine then. Don't worry, Dora. When it flashed up the thing, if I choose this option, we can't be romantic, I clicked that option because I don't want to be romantic with him. Fine, it's late, so we should go to bed. Can I see Tony and his cat? What an odd conversation. Should let Roy know that he's certainly attractive in Dora's opinion. Who's going to be more awkward about it, do you reckon? Roy. Definitely Roy. Hee. Mirror. I forgot about the mirror. It's like something's flashing. There's nothing there. Don't upset me. I think you just really want to see something. Just say it already. Serena. Damn it. I cannot get used to not having to reflect her in mirrors anymore. And then the dancing. It really feels like she isn't dead. Like you're still reflecting her, but without seeing her. Complicated stuff, but in a way, yes. I understand now where the whole notion of the primary mirror comes from. Many would want to see something again. This way, at least, it's because when you see yourself in the mirror, it's as if you're connected to something. To someone real. Someone who could have reflected back at you. You know, I really did see something in there just for a split second, but still. Anyway, I'll show it to Dora. She'll be thrilled to find out I'm suddenly in possession of a magical artifact, or that I'm going mad. Dora used to be attached to her prototype too. She can understand. How about tomorrow though? It's late now. Hopefully nothing is going to happen overnight. Tomorrow, huh? Any victim's classic mistake in a horror movie. Again. But sure, why not? So that was 22. So all of that was one day, 22 days after death. So we did all of that in a day. We have found out about the case. We have confided some stuff with other people. Dora's in the loop, but Dora's not in our little open discussion thing because Dora's just constantly sour and everything and being like a school teacher and constantly huffing and puffing and do this, why aren't you doing it, meh, 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 meh. And Tony got a cat and Tony's happy. Tony got a cat and Tony's happy. I also shut the door on romance with Roy, which it kept trying to push me through that door, and I'm like, close that door, lock that door, Tony, 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 let's give him a cat. That was today. Tony, 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 shut the door on Roy, give Tony a cat. That's the theme of today's game.